Hello there, welcome back. This is my first proper episode coming back. I did some box set steelbooks last week, and I did that Street Anxiety, long version, short version, which I'm still promoting. I really like. I think it's a good one. So this is my first one back. So because I couldn't decide which one to do, I had two films I was thinking, which one should I talk about? This one or this one? I could not decide on either. So I decided to use both. So that's a unique take. So I'm going to talk about both opera and tag. I'll start with opera. It's the more obvious one. That's a Dario Argento movie. You may have seen my videos on Inferno and Suspiria. I think November, October time I did them. They're great films. Watch my videos, good videos. I did them. I'm a massive Argento fan. I've kept away from doing Argento films because Man v Film has done some. Daisuke Beppu's done a whole season on them, so go see his stuff. So everyone's doing it, but I really want to talk opera. So I was like, I'll do this. And I'm going to do some more Argento films over the year at some point, but because they've been so done recently, I'm not doing it. I'm not going to do a season around. I'll just do them as I feel like doing them. Might be easier, so there's not so much repeating. But opera is one of my favourite Argento films. It was made in 86, 87. It was one of the last films Argento made that got full on support by horror fans. It's the one that's yeah, this is a great film. This is Argento near peak. That's opera. The thing with opera also is it's one of those ones that also feels personal to Argento. I mean, it's one of those films, his 70s and 80s stuff always felt personal. The strange thing is, when it's hit the 90s, the films almost felt like they were, he was making them because he was making it. They felt like a habit he got into of making films. And these other films, the 70s and 80s films, even the weaker ones, felt like there was lots of his psychological problems floating through these films and imagery and character. It felt like he was processing a lot, and then at a certain point it seemed like he might have worked out his problems or found no solution and just became a careerist almost. Even though he wasn't a careerist of, I'm trying to be he was really the top of the game really, but just have a horror career. The 90s he seemed to lose a lot of ambition, but this is when he was still greedy for something new, something unique. So opera literally is an opera. It's an opera of horror rather than there's music as well, but the first everything it does is operatic. The motivation of the killer is very operatic. The heroine feels like an opera heroine as well as being an opera singer. There's music throughout. It just feels very. It's an expression of what it's about in its form as well. So I'm going to get any spoilers here. It's the same with Tag. I mean, but any spoilers say Tag's also great. I'll get to that one. It's a Japanese film. I'll get to that too. But I'll need to get any spoilers here. Really for both films, right? The thing about opera is the killer is basically, the killer's a policeman who's meant to investigate the crimes, which is a nice take on the situation. The guy who's meant to be the investigator is the one who's doing them, so he's investigating his own crimes. And it's done in a way so you never know that till the end because it's a giallo, so you never know that until the end. But if you've seen the film, you know it's him. So it's actually a lot funnier when you realise he's investigating his own crimes and there's a whole other element to it. But it's also the thing is, so it's one of those things where Argento did in the 70s and 80s also, where the actual resolution of the murder, we find out who the murderer is It doesn't take away from the film the second time round. When you see the film again, and knowing who the killer is, and seeing the story play out, it's still interesting. In a way, I think in the 90s it wasn't as interesting because the motivations of the killer didn't feel personal, didn't feel like he really had a connection to the killer. It just felt like he's just a killer. This is the excuse for the killings, rather than this is a killer, this is a problem, and the killings are an expression of his problem. That's what the earlier Argento films felt like, and that's why they were so unique. But this one, you can see his obsession. He's obsessed by this girl, this young woman who is a daughter of his ex-lover, who he killed years ago. She was also an opera singer, and she was this vicious, needy, horrible woman. So the new opera singer who gets a big shot when the diva opera singer was injured, she's having to deal with the reputation of her mother, who was a great singer but also a total bitch. Everyone hated her mother. So they're hoping she's got the talent of her mother but not the personality. And she's like become repressed and preyed upon because she knew her mother was very loose sexually, and that's a hang up for this girl. She's just trying to separate herself from her past. And all these elements of the repressed singer and the perverted but also repressed killer are done simply, but they're expanded out in a way that's cool, it's really good, because they're an expression of the problem, you know, in operatic terms. So you get less. So you get the Argento crazy camera moves of the because he's these point of view shots from birds, and he's got all these other weird things going on. The camera is always moving about. He's always very imaginative. He's fascinated by where he can put the camera and how he can express something about the situation. But he's also good in this one because he simplifies everything. Because his films, Jolly before this was Tenebrae, which was a very complicated plot, and it needed that for what the problem was of the character there. And this one is more simple, it's an opera, and throughout the film, because she's an opera singer and she's practicing for the opera, there's always opera music playing. So you're floating through the opera hall as you're establishing the characters, there's opera playing. When she's in her apartment, she's practicing, so there's opera playing in the back when she's listening, she's trying to get all the beats right. When a lot of the sequences are happening, it's opera's playing. I mean, this is an extension of a lot of sequences that Argento did in Inferno. Inferno had a lot of opera in it, and it was very, because one of these characters was a musician and he was learning opera as a musician. So there's lots of music played in that. This one is expanded from what was a small section in Inferno to the movie. The only time there's no opera is when you get the extreme emotions of the killer, when it goes to rock music, which, as I said, one bit of the film I don't like as much because I think the opera was so right for it. They went to the killer point of view and it felt a bit off. You can see why he did it, but it doesn't quite. Doesn't quite deliver what it needs to for the film. I think it distances you from it rather than get you into the mood of the film. So it's a strange situation there, but the film itself is so good that flaw doesn't become a problem. There's some really fun characters in this one. Argento then was also enjoying giving his actors some, like, either having the character actors being bitchy or nasty to each other. He's a lot of fun. Like Ian Charleston from Chariots of Fire plays the director, who's viewed as a sadist and a technical guy. Obviously stand in for Argento, so you'd expect him to be dodgy. It turns out he's not. He's just a weirdo who's a film director who likes shooting opera. And Argento started shooting operas as well, so this character's obviously standing for him. And it's a fun character. A lot of the background people who did the costumes, who do the agent, they were all fun as well. I mean, it's enjoyable to see them, especially if you see them in the original Italian. Because I've been used to dubbed versions of this film for years because it's very hard for them to get hold of. It was just released by Cult Films. You actually get a proper release, proper ratio, 2:35:1. It was shot in Super 35, so they also shot it so you could have the top and bottom cropped out, but you'd also have the full screen for the TVs, but it was always meant to be 2:35. And as wonderful as it floats through, the camera floats through and picks up in the characters. So the first section, as you're learning the opera, what the opera is, who the people are, you're getting extensions, you're getting an expression of the killer's point of view as well as the point of view of the opera director. The first time it could be the killer's point of view, you don't know who the killer is, but you found out as you rewatch it, you see this is an extension of what the director's trying to do. The director of the film plus the director of the actual opera from the film. So it becomes an expression of his artistic frustrations. And you go behind the scenes and you're going into the actual opera and seeing it, and it's wonderfully done. Everything's up. I mean, the first half of the movie feels like a set piece. A whole set piece upon another set piece upon another set piece. But it doesn't feel that way. It's just, it feels like it's the one thing after another, but it feels perfectly paced, so you're not getting exhausted or anything. It's not like, oh, another set piece, oh god, not another one. It always just flows from one thing to the next. And it has to slow down and do some plotting eventually, and then it goes back up for the end. Which is the end's kind of reminiscent a lot of Red Dragon, the Thomas Harris book. You'll know when you see it, but it's still nice to see that because it does this. This does it better than the Red Dragon by Edward Norton a few years after, which did that twist terribly. This did it properly. So it's a really well done movie overall. It's just wonderful. It's hard to talk about because it's so enjoyable, and a lot of the meaning is within how the camera moves, how the actors look, and all the rest of it. There is a thing where the killer makes her watch. He ties the heroine up and makes her watch what's going on with these pins close to her eyes. If she closes her eyes will get severed, so as to watch him kill all these people. And it's an expression of sadism towards her, but also what her mother did to him. She didn't do the things with the eyes, but she was forcing him to see things he wasn't ready for when he was a kid. So they basically, or was a teenager, so basically the killer was abused by her mother. This is revenge on her, but also a lost story. It's really weird. And so it becomes an expression of her family's guilt and her family's trauma upon the killer. And it's a wonderful scene. It's also like, you can't close your eyes. She can't close her eyes. Well, the audience can go this, but she can't. So that's opera. I won't say any more because you really just have to see it, but the Cult Films Blu-ray is terrific. I recommend it highly. You get some nice extras, very nice transfer. The soundtrack, I think it's just 2.0, but it's a really good transfer. It's really good. If you put some speakers on, you're going to get a really good time with it. So I highly recommend opera. Okay, now we have Sion Sono's Tag. This is a Japanese film. This is the reason why I'm connecting to opera, you know, and it's a very tenuous connection because I don't want to talk about both these films. This is not like a double take that Sausage Runners did, where he actually connects the two films with a reason. Like he did a really good one with Elizabeth Scott one. This is just, they're both very visual. That's the only connection. I couldn't make my mind up between which one you watch, so I'm doing both. I'll talk about, so I'm doing both. So Sion Sono's Tag is about a girl who, she's a schoolgirl who is on a bus trip, and when she bends down to pick up a pen which fell on the floor, all her schoolmates are decapitated and the top of the bus is ripped off. And she's the only person left. You see all these bodies flopping around and blood everywhere. And she starts to go to really surreal, you know, events where she has to escape from that area. Where she ends up finding this, she's all bloody, so she finds up this uniform of these other schoolgirls who have drowned at a park area, this river park area. She puts on a new uniform, then goes to this school trying to get help, and then everyone in the school seems to know her under this other identity that she can't remember. And then you follow her through the school. She makes friends with these girls, and they seem to have known for a long time, and it just starts to float forward through this. It's almost like a naturalistic thing where it's like, becomes this almost like hanging rock sequence where they're going through this. They go to this river, this little pond area, and are talking. It's wonderful. This is these four girls chatting and having fun, but it's also very mysterious. And then things start to change as they're killed, and she goes to this other identity, and this other actress playing her, then there's another actress playing her. So it keeps on switching actresses playing this character, and she's trying to work out what the hell is going on. Where am I? And you know, what's going on? Now they do explain what's going on, but I wish they hadn't, because that's the weakest part of the film, and I'm not sure how much you're meant to take it seriously, because there's a feeling in this film that the explanation is just a throwaway explanation. It's to put everything together, but the actual joy of the film is like a 70s Revette film as you're floating through with these characters and enjoying spending time with them through this surreal experience where none of the rules make sense, where people can switch from being nice to nasty instantly, where people become, in this case, turn murderous. And it's this, I wish they found another explanation for it, but again, I think they know the explanation's a bit dodgy, so they kind of throw it away and what you're left with at the end, because they always go back to the feeling of what if rather than this is a definite ending, because it always feels like this ending could have been made up ending and there might be another ending down the line, sort of like Existence or something, like Cronenberg's Existence. It's like, it feels like an ending, but it's not really an ending, because it's really the emotional journey of this character as she goes through hell and she's through a reality that doesn't quite make sense and what's actually going on. It's wonderful. It's a wonderful film. It's very hard to explain. It's just one of those films that you can sit back and just enjoy for how it just keeps turning on you, but it's so perfectly paced. It's just as you're had enough of one thing, it switches to something else, and it seems to know what to do to delight you with weird shit. Everything feels within that world, so it's very it's kind of very quiet surrealism. It's surreal, but it's not look at me. It's not like Dali surreal. It's just it's much more tied to real life. It's not even David Lynch surreal. It's just this weird tone. If you'd seen the new Twin Peaks series, you'd recognise there's that kind of weird tone of things are moving off here or there, and you're never quite sure where they're going, but there's something fascinating going on. And that's why the actual revelations kind of disappoint. You didn't really need a revelation. It would have been better without a revelation. You don't really need it. It's one of those. It's also that kind of thing where I'm actually doing more of an advertisement for this film rather than trying to go into too much detail, because the enjoyment is the watching of it, and I've only seen it once, and it's what came out to me was just the enjoying watching the characters interact. The actresses were charming. They were wonderful together. All the characters are interesting, and how it kept on twisting and turning and doing strange things and showing the character reactions to certain things and what was going on. All that was just wonderful, and just it was also a joy to watch as even when they switched actresses, you still retained the essence of the central character, even though sometimes there's a different point of view of the character, and it's just very strange. It's almost like a character seeing herself as she would be as she's a bit older than a bit older herself again, and it's almost the life is almost like this surreal game of progression and fast forward. So there's lots of things like that that are, when you find out what's going on, there's a plot reason, but it's more delightful as a expression of how you go through life and things go faster than you thinking, what the hell's happened to my life and what's going on. And it's just this weird feeling of life just been much more mysterious and interesting than most films allow. So it's a wonderful film. Just prepare yourself for an ending that's not as good as the rest of it. Like, for 75% of the film it's an A+ film, and then it's just a B+ film for a little bit, and then it goes back to being an A+ film. There's like a 10-minute bit that's not so good, the rest is amazing. So I recommend it highly. Please go see it, enjoy it. It's on Amazon Prime just now for free. I've got Amazon Prime, you can see it for nothing right now. So please go see it. It's wonderful. Okay, I'll be back tomorrow with another video, one of my longer videos, rambly, about a subject matter. And then I have Monday, Wednesday, Thursday as well, as usual. Okay, well I hope you enjoyed that. I'll see you soon.